Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and District. My name's Susanna, and I live with trains. And today is rail replacement. Stroke one thing leads to another, and all will become clear very, very shortly. So the first thing I wanted to say is just apologise to everybody because there hasn't been any videos from me for the last 4 weeks or so. I've just taken a bit of a short sabbatical from YouTube. My apologies if you can hear a dog screeching in the background. So if you can hear some sort of strange noise, that's probably what it is. So you haven't heard anything from me for about 4 weeks. So I apologise for that, but that doesn't mean that nothing has actually been done. And the fact that I'm saying this is a rail replacement video will probably tell you why, as I'm about to show you. So without further ado, let's get on and explain why this is a rail replacement video. So what does rail replacement mean? Well, rail replacement usually means engineering work in the real world, and it's no different here at Mildenhall and Districts. There is going to be no trains running on my layout for the foreseeable future, and all will become apparent very, very shortly. So the reason for this latest rail replacement is because of my start on the heritage line. And originally, when I was going to do the heritage line, there's a section of track spur just down there, which is supposed to be the out, which was pre-built into the layout, and the heritage line was originally going to start from there and go all the way along this back wall into the kitchen and round into the far corner. And that was going to be about a 25-foot run for the trains. However, as we were about to find out, one thing leads to another. So I decided that the length of 25 feet as a length wasn't really long enough. And wouldn't it be a good idea if I can make it run and give it a bit more extra length? So where was I going to get this extra length from? Well, let me show you. So the heritage line currently supposed to finish there, where that red buffer stop is, as you can probably see. But I thought it'd probably be a good idea if I could just spin it around and take it round the corner to along this back wall, which is here. But as you're about to find out, and as you can see, things have changed. So the back seam that was along there has now gone. All of this track has been lifted. We now have a wider section to play with. And now the heritage line is going to terminate in that far corner. And that will give it about 40 feet or so in total run length. So basically the heritage line is going to run all the way along the back wall, all the way around into the far corner. But to do that, like I said, one thing leads to another. Because, as you can see, the container yard that was over there has now disappeared. All the tracks lifted up. We also have a new extension. This bit here is new. This side of the borderline here, as you can see, to the left, that's all new. That's all up. New fascia board. We have new fascia board, which looks very, very smart. I'm very pleased. I only did that yesterday. So we've got some new fascia board here. There is still more fascia board to do. Basically what it was is that the old fascia board is down there. That's the old one down there. The problem is with that is that the old fascia board came up to about there, which is right on the curve. And it also had a couple of holes where it had some switches over there. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to create this new sweeping fascia board where it just curves round as in one piece, which I like. So I've got to do the same on this side because there is a bit here that's offended me. And it's this bit here. We'll show you which bit it is. It's this bit. Let me just roll back a bit. If I can get, sorry. It's just the tripod's in the way. It's this bit here on the Mildenhall and Districts. As you can see, there's the curves starting to come around here and there's a kink. And I absolutely dislike this and it's absolutely offending me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like I did on the far side. I'm going to actually put a longer piece in to create a perfect curve. And then I'm going to actually marry it in and butt it in onto this straight piece in the middle. So when the two pieces meet in the middle, it's actually going to be perfectly flat as opposed to having this kink that I've got going on here. So the heritage line is going along the back, and obviously that means that the container terminal now has to come to the front, because obviously it doesn't make any sense at all to put the heritage line here and then it has to cross over the main lines to get to the back. So that's why the heritage line had to come up, the container yard had to come up, because it's going to be placed on this side, and then the through running lines will be through the middle. And like I said, the heritage line will be there and the heritage platform will be there. So I've got the wood for that over there. My apologies for the shadows. And you can see, like I said, the fascia board continues all the way along, and I've had to sort of curve it all the way along down to here. And you can see there's a notch taken out there, but that's just to allow me to open this door, because otherwise if I had it at the same length there, then I wouldn't be able to open the fascia board. Open the door underneath the fascia board, I should say. As we come round to Chaston Road Station, you can see that I've actually ripped up the track here as well. This bit here is a piece of Velcro. This is the Velcro that was underneath the original fascia board that I had on that corner, so I could stick the fabric. So that's going to be glued back on. So that's what that is. But you can actually see that I've actually extended out another piece of board by about another 3 inches, 2 or 3 inches, about that much, from the original board, which is why that I had to lift up the track here. Plus, also on the original track that was here, there was also a really nasty piece of track, which basically what it was is I had 2 pieces of track, but they weren't sitting properly. I was sitting above the chairs rather than in the chairs. So there was this kind of slight ridge to it. So when the trains went up and over, it wasn't seamless, it wasn't straight and flat. So I'm glad to have got rid of that. And then it will then go back into the normal tunnel mouth, and that's as far as it's going to go. That's as far as the changes are going to go. But essentially what I wanted to do here is the reason for extending this out is to basically have a lead for the container terminal train, for the container train. So we're going to have a lead that goes on. So there'll actually be 3 lines on here eventually. This station will be taken up, but will remain. So Dave, if you are watching, please don't fear. Chaston Road will remain, but it will be upgraded. It's going to be upgraded to having actual 2. It's going to still have 2 running lines for it, and it'll still be 2 platforms, but it will actually be 2 platforms as opposed to an island platform. So that's going to be taken up. And so I was meant to do this during my holidays, and there was a delay on me doing this during my holidays. And the reason why there was a delay on my holidays was because I wasn't quite sure how to go about what I'm about to do. But recently it occurred to me to try a novel idea of how to go about doing what I want to achieve, which I think is going to be better. And so therefore I've now started my delayed plan. So I'm going to take it off the tripod, and I'm just going to show you it in a bit more detail. And like I said, my apology for the shadows, because that's just because it's evening time and the light isn't necessarily the best. So you can actually see now that I've actually extended this out. And if I just, like I said, you've got this piece of track here as reference, it only used to come up to about there. So you can see just how much extra I've added here. And like I said, the fascia board is actually added. It's now blended in. It just needs to be painted. And that's how that's going to be. Now I'm going to take you back over here. Oh yeah, so again, this is kind of like a reference. These barriers are a reference because essentially the container terminal on this side is the same width as what's here. So basically what was there is essentially more or less going to be replicated on this side, albeit it might be slightly configured slightly differently. And then, like I said, the heritage line will be running along here. There will still be no track on here, but this will now be like a little mini town scene and stuff like that with the platform and maybe a few other bits and pieces. I'm now going to take you to the station area to tell you what's going to happen there. So my biggest quandary that I had and why there was such a delay on me starting this project that I was supposed to start about a month ago was because I was in this quandary as to what to do. And the quandary comes in the form of too many. So, and what I mean by that is, I had the station here. I've got a station at Chaston Road, and then the heritage line is now going to be, the start of it is going to be at Chaston Road, but on that corner, like I explained to you. But the thing being is, with heritage lines, usually with heritage lines, they sort of have, not all, but some, like the Bluebell and as the Watercress line, have a main line connection. The main line connection for my heritage railway is now going to be Chaston Road, as opposed to here at Mildenhall Riverside. So my quandary was, I didn't want the heritage line to seem like it's part of the layout. The main layout, I should say, because usually when you go on heritage railways, and I've been on a few now, and you kind of, I love the feel of being immersed and isolated into places that you wouldn't normally go on a regular train. And so if you've got two sort of mainline stations to serve the heritage line, it doesn't really feel like it's isolated enough. And that's the thing that I was struggling with. It's like it seemed like there's one station on top of another station on top of another station. So I have to create this illusion that actually it is immersive, it is isolated, and the trick was to see how I could achieve this. So the way to achieve this is that Chaston Road is being upgraded with 2 platforms, but Mildenhall Riverside will now be downgraded to an island platform. This island platform here, this one here. So that what side there is going to go. But because I love this footbridge that I made, and I took a lot of time to build it, and I really like it, I like the way it's presented, the lights all work. The reason for putting 2 platforms at Chaston Road is quite simply to put that footbridge over at Chaston Road station. So I still get to use that platform, that footbridge, and this will be relegated to a single island platform. And the reason for this is because I actually want the space. I'm going to see if I can actually shove you higher. Let me see if I can shove you higher. Where are we? Oh yeah, that's what it is, because I'm doing it wrong. Right, so this will give you a better idea because we're up high then. So there you go. Right, so this track here, as you can see, is concrete sleeper track. The side on the other side of this island platform is also concrete sleeper track. So I wouldn't have to lift these 2 lines up at all. So the idea is to lift this line, get rid of that island platform, get rid of that platform, and basically create a tunnel effect so that the heritage line can go behind the back scene and make it come across like it's isolated. Now let me demonstrate this, and hopefully this will give you a better idea of what I'm talking about. This is the old fascia board, but the idea is to essentially, let me just drop you down again. And if I see if I can zoom you out a bit. So the idea is to essentially have 2 back scenes. So you'd still keep, like, say, that one at the back where it is, for example, but in this case I'd be moving this one forward to where this one is, and then you've got this one slightly lower, and basically to hide the heritage line running behind it. And this will give the illusion that the heritage line is actually gone off somewhere else completely. And by scenicking it in such a way, it's to give the impression that it's totally isolated from the main layout. So the idea is, from back here, you've got the heritage line that will come from over here, and it will run through the back side of this back scene, and maybe have some trees along it to sort of soften the entry point. And it will go behind the trees, and it will eventually disappear behind this first back scene, so you won't actually see it. And then the main line will still be at the front of this first back scene, and we will still retain a back scene at the back there, obviously for the heritage line running behind it. So essentially, the heritage line will be like in some sort of kind of open tunnel, as it were. And so that's what the plan is, because what I didn't want is for the heritage line to come out of Chaston Road, and as soon as it leaves Chaston Road, come straight into Mildenhall Riverside. So I wanted to break up the stations, so it looks like you're travelling a greater distance to get between the stations. So hopefully that will kind of give you an idea. It will all come out in the wash, but obviously this is my way around it. So all the track work in the middle here for the Freightliner terminal will change. Won't change. All of this bit here in the middle. All this bit here in the middle won't change. None of it. The only bit that's going to change is actually the two tracks at the back, because we're still going to keep one of them at the back, but I'm going to centralise it so I can put like an embankment either side and give it this illusion that you're travelling through the forest or through the countryside with trees on either side, and maybe a bridge that crosses it. And just to give it the illusion like it's not part of the main layout, that it's actually somewhere completely different, like you are on a heritage main line. On a heritage line. So that's really the plan. And that wasn't the original plan, which is why I originally had it as it was. But me being me, I decided that I wanted to bring it around and give it the extra length. And it will work. It's just taken me longer than what I'd expected it. So you can see why there isn't any trains running between now and Christmas, because it is a bit of a job. It's taken me a little while to figure it out, but I'm really looking forward to it, because I can see it in my mind how it's going to work, and I can really imagine it being really something quite cool, because I really want it to be something really quite immersive, where if I put a cam truck on the front of the train and run it behind there, you actually do get the impression that you are travelling on like a heritage railway. And that's the look that I'm going for. And I think by having it stop at Mildenhall Riverside, as well as it's starting from Chester, it's just one station on top of the other, and it just seems like it's part of the main layout. And I really don't want that. I want it to be like it's part of the main layout, but as soon as it leaves the main layout, it's going off to somewhere where the mind boggles and you can be left with your imagination as to what's going to come next, like in a real kind of sorry, that's me messing around with my phone. So it's just like being on a real heritage railway, where you're thinking to yourself, you're travelling on these. I mean, I've caught myself doing it on my recordings on my travels on some of the heritage. I really did enjoy the Bluebell Railway, and I will be going back there next year. And it's something that I will be doing a lot more next year, doing a lot more heritage railways. And I just love capturing the feel of it, and I love the isolation of it. I love the fact that you've got some old diesels, and it just takes you to bygone eras, whether it even steam, bygone steam engines, diesel engines, and stuff that you won't really see anymore, and seeing such beautiful scenery, feeling like you're isolated and stuff like that. It's just like, I want to try and capture some of that on my heritage railway, and also to try and bring some of the procedures, barrier crossings, bridges, that type of thing, try and see what I can adapt to it. It's going to be quite tight and narrow, but I think it's going to make it even more immersive. Now, to go with my heritage theme, Hornby did a Black Friday sale recently, and I think it's finished now. Now, I know people tend to turn around and say, don't buy anything from Hornby website because it's way too expensive, and you know you can get better deals elsewhere. But on this occasion, the items I'm about to show you were 50% off, and they were perfect for what I was after. And I got 3 items, so I'm going to show you them before we finish the video. So the first item was a Scaledale Southeastern signal box, and that's it there. And I have actually opened them all and I've checked them all, so I know that they're not broken. The second part of it is a 2-parter, because this is the Southeastern Railway Station, which I bought. But there's also, if I just drop this box here, there's also this one which goes alongside it. And you can have this as one big building or as 2 separate buildings. And I want one big building, so I'm going to have one big building. Now, whether it goes, I haven't decided whether this is going to be going on this side or whether it's going on the other side. Now, there's going to be 3 stations on the Mildenhall Heritage Railway. And basically it's like a beginning, middle and end. So the beginning being Chaston Road, we'll have the middle station being Mildenhall, and then the final station is going to be Oddington. So those are the 3 stations that we're going to have, and I'm hoping to maximise the space and playability of my Heritage Railway. And also, if anyone comes around and they want to run it, then they can run it as a separate owner entity, without it encroaching on my living space. So it's all built around my living space. So, so like I said, that's why everything's carefully thought out and mapped out. Well, not mapped out, it's just mapped out in here. It's not mapped out through iTrains because, or any of those programs on the computer, because personally I don't particularly believe in them. That's just me. Because I'd always find that it's better for me to essentially learn by my mistakes. So just like with here, you know, I already pre-built the sort of heritage line, you know, and I realised that actually I want more. So now I'm going to have to change it. But I know it's going to, you know, I know what I want. Sometimes you plan these things on the computer and inevitably you end up changing, or maybe the track plan doesn't quite fit as you thought, unless you literally, there's that saying, the information's only as good as you put in. So as long as you put in the correct information, you'll get good information back. But if you put dodgy information in, or not the correct measurements or whatever into your iTrains or whatever computer program you use, you might not necessarily get great results back. So I always just find it better just to lay the, in my experience, for me, I always prefer it just to lay the track down, have a look at it physically, see what I can fit in, and if I have to change it, so be it, I have to change it. But that's where we're heading with this front bit, which is why there is going to be no trains running until the new year. So I will leave you with my rail replacement video, and until the next time, my name's Susanna and I live with trains, and I do have a number of other videos which I have actually pre-recorded which haven't been shown yet. So, excuse me, so hopefully you might get to see those. If I don't speak to you before Christmas, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and season's greetings. So like I said, if I don't see you before Christmas, then like I said, Merry Christmas to you all. So until the next time, my name's Susanna and I live with trains. So bye-bye, and stay tuned to find out what happens in Rail Replacement Part 2. Bye for now. Bye-bye.